Hi. Sorry, hold on a second. Damn it. Sounded a little too perky anyway. Let me try that again. Hi, it's Bumble. Welcome back to my channel. I'm continuing with my videos where I just kind of talk and reflect about the characters in the game Date Everything. Since I finished my 2 playthroughs, I feel like I kind of got a better sense of the characters' personalities and stuff, and where kind of my opinions lie. So I'm going in order of the date decks, and we stopped at number 20, so now 21, that's Dolly, that's where we're starting from. This will probably be another 20 more, like getting us to 40, but we'll see. Maybe it'll be longer if it's like I don't have much to say on some of the characters. So starting with Dolly, oh yeah, I still have the wiki open. I'm still going over outfits first and then talking about personalities and stuff. I think it's interesting with Dolly. I mean, I guess I'll talk about her personality a little here, of how she's dressed as a Playboy bunny, and probably also because of the southern accent, like you'd assume based on like tropes of like her not being smart or whatever, or maybe because she's like made out of dust or something, and then you find out she's like a college professor with like a billion PhDs, and her whole thing with her route is her giving you a lecture about dust history and stuff. And that being more of her thing rather than like trying to romantically or like sexually pursue her. I mean, she's into that too, but which I find kind of funny, where she has the collectible about the Play Bunny magazine. But I like her outfit. I wasn't sure if the bunny ears, I know they're like a headband, if they're like supposed to be a part of her head, because she does have an actual tail, but the ears are like a headband, but she literally is supposed to be a dust bunny that like lives under your couch. I think it would be kind of cute. I get what the headband's supposed to be to match with the rest of the outfit and like the Playboy bunny outfit vibe. I think it would be cute if the ears were actually attached to her head and she was like literally a rabbit. I think it would be kind of fun to have that, because you already have Timothy, who literally has like cat ears and a tail. Plus, with a lot of the poses and stuff she does, or not all of them, but they match up with the ears. Like the ears will actually change position. Like when she gets upset, she does this really cute pose where she actually pulls down and holds the ears. So there's like stuff like that. And then she also has this other form where she becomes a dust ball when you sneeze her. And I think that's really interesting, because like the entire time when you talk to characters, they're just in like the humanized form from the glasses and stuff. But then with Dolly, I mean, it's mentioned throughout her route about her literally being made of dust and stuff, but then when you sneeze and she unforms, she becomes just a ball of dust, but they still make her kind of cute, or like she's still sort of in the form of like a little creature, I guess it kind of matches more. It kind of looks like it's a head and a body, but it also kind of just looks like it's a head and like her ponytail. I'm just realizing that now, but I find it kind of funny because it has a little like ribbon that's supposed to be like tying up the hair, and she has her little the little necktie thing, and then of course her big eyes that are like bigger than they are on her sprite are on there, but they're like even more stylized, and it's kind of goofy because it's kind of like the thing of just plastering eyes on something. But I get it's supposed to be her, but it's like you get to that point in her route and it's like oh right, she is, at the end of the day, a dust bunny. I feel like we don't really get that reminder from the other characters that often, or like you see them in like, I mean, she has an object form where she, I guess, basically does look like that on the floor, where she's like a actual bunny shaped piece of dust that's like super tiny on the ground. I like that when you pet her too, because you can pet her, she kind of wiggles around a little bit. It's kind of funny. Her realized outfit is absolutely adorable. It's so cute. I like how it's like kind of girly, but also it's like preppy, really, like the academic stuff. It's kind of interesting because it's like, I like that she has like this kind of like sexualized outfit or whatever that has to do with her character when you first meet her, and then with the realized outfit it's just more normal and stuff compared to some of the other characters where they still have like sexualized outfits and stuff even afterwards. But her outfit's so cute. I love her little hair bow, and she has this vest. I'm not sure how I feel about the skirt. I get it's supposed to be like fuzzy and stuff, but I don't like the texture of it. I like her little socks too. They're kind of not perfectly straight. They're kind of ruffled. I just noticed she does have just full-on like stilettos. I think that's interesting. I never noticed that with the heel. I kind of just assumed based on the outfit she'd be wearing like Mary Jane's or something that would kind of match with like the black and white kind of preppy outfit and stuff. It's super cute, and it doesn't even look like an object thing. I mean, it has bits of it a little bit with like the skirt and stuff. Oh, okay, if I click on the image, it's better. Her makeup, can I say, I haven't been talking about makeup with characters much, is also really cute. Her lips look very like full, and she's got like definitely like lip gloss or something on there. And I like how bouncy and curly her hair becomes once it's the ponytail where she's like not literally covered in dust anymore. I feel like the socks are cute, but like socks with high heels, it looks weird to me. And I think it's kind of funny that with her her shirt, the sleeves of it are like really fuzzy and stuff, so it's still going for like bunny and stuff, not really like dust, which I like. But her outfit's super cute. It's totally something I mean, I've seen pictures where people cosplay the characters. I don't know if anyone does it for like the realized characters. Even if it looks like an outfit I would wear to like college or something. With Lynn Eastwood, it's kind of funny because in her original outfit, oh shit, it's not loading. You know, he's kind of drawn as like this little kind of scruffly thing with the little face, and he looks like a little cartoon creature, you know. Like just the big black eyes and the whiskers being kind of fuzzy. Like he does look like he's made out of like dirt or whatever, and I like how she's always holding him. And then when you realize him, he turns into an actual rabbit. And most of the realized animals are absolutely adorable. Like I love Memoria's little dog so much, but Lynn Eastwood just looks really goofy. Where I don't know what kind of brand of rabbit he's supposed to be. Like the body's funny because he looks like a fuzzball head with ears. There are no limbs to be seen. It is kind of weird with like the way she cradles him in his arms, and she just kind of, the rabbit kind of just sits on top. But the face, it doesn't look cute to me. It's so small compared to the rest of the body, and it's like originally the rabbit had like cute eyes, and it looks like it's menacing and evil in the realized form, and like everything else about it, like Dolly looks fantastic, and the rabbit being an actual rabbit is a cool idea, but like why does it have to look like that? Especially because the normal version looks so cute. I was really hoping, like, I get it's supposed to be realized and stuff, but like if it could keep the cartoon face but still have the little rabbit like fuzzy body of being like a real rabbit, I think that would have been perfect. But you know, whatever. You'll hear me talk more about like the other animals and stuff, or I guess they all count as animals, I guess not just the one Mateo has. Anyway, Dolly's cool. Like I mentioned, I like how she is like a college professor and stuff, and I think it's interesting for her route when you go in the expedition and she's talking about the cave painting and stuff. I'll be honest, I was a little bit bored with the cave painting stuff. Like, I think she's okay. Do you think she's kind of a unique concept though with the dust bunny stuff and the with the professor stuff. I did like with her lecture that it turned out with the cave painting to be about ancient Dystonians, where they're on like psychedelics or something. I feel like I should have expected that, but I was taking it so seriously and everything. But she's like really well accomplished and everything, where it's like she does the modeling, she does the professor stuff, and then if I remember correctly, she hold on a minute. She goes back to teaching, and she ends up starting an OnlyFans, and I find it funny that it doesn't even have anything really that sexual. It's just her doing her lectures, and people are into it or whatever. But I did like the detail if you do the romance, or I don't know if it's romance exclusive, where we pursue a PhD course because of her. I was kind of confused if it was like we're getting the PhD or I think it's that we're starting the player character like to teach a course and she's our assistant or something, which I think is pretty cool. That's like of course the player character gets their own development throughout the story and stuff of, you know, you get all your specs and you interact more with people and helping them with their problems and the whole act of like realization and everything. But that was one of the times it was cool where it's like realizing someone and us going into the world, we get some development too, you know, of like getting the PhD and stuff. And I think that's cool. I'm glad the player character has something like that, because it does seem kind of sucky. I mean, I like realization, you let the characters go and whatever, but it is kind of a sad perspective if you think of it, of like everyone's gone and they go out and most of them become super successful in some way. And then you're just you know, like if you don't realize enough people and get the Franklin and David thing where you become the third partner at Valdivian, David Most, I keep wanting to say David Moss for some reason, just shows up at your house, can't get the glasses, you go off into the world and do whatever. I don't know. I mean, you lost your job. It's not like you go and you get another one or something. There's not like an ending like that for the player, so it's a little bit sad in the sense. So hearing stuff like that, like the player character gets like a PhD. I mean, there's a lot of cool things that happen for you regardless if you like make friends with people and stuff. Like Koa gives you free furniture for life. There's several characters that I think just go to deliver food or objects and things to your home, or some of them just show up like to hang out or whatever. There's I think several that even just live in your town and you get to interact with them and stuff. So in that sense, it's cool. Things work out for you and stuff, and you don't have sentient furniture in your house anymore. But yeah. Anyway, Dolly's pretty cool. Not one of my like favorites or anything, or someone I can say I like really, really, really like, but I think she's neat. I keep wanting to read this list in alphabetical order, and it's not. Okay, so Dante's the next one. Dante, I did his full route in my first playthrough, but I couldn't get the realization ending because of the stupid charm stat thing that wasn't working. So I finally got to see what it was and what his design was. Let me go to the thing. I keep forgetting to change it as I'm talking. I think his design's cool. I like the idea of having the jacket and stuff, that like the jacket pants combo. I don't like the jacket, it looks too much like furniture, but I do like for the characters that have to hold stuff up, they have like little versions of things like the photos and the ship in the bottle. I like the shoes. They're really I'm gonna take the joke and take it. They're really lit. I think they're supposed to be Tim's. I like the shoelace literally being made out of fire, and I like how they're sort of socks, but they're like part of the wall. Because I keep forgetting he's literally just Sorry, I'm on the wiki and it has quotes for every character, and the one that they picked for Dante on here just says, "Nah, not like that, you little freaky deaky indoor dork," and that's perfect. Oh, wait, never mind, that's weird. I thought his category, I just assumed it was charm, but it's actually sass. I feel like sort of fits. I always forget about like characters belong to a specific category, but you need like an insane amount of charm to be able to romance him, I think. Let me actually check that really quick. What is that? Yeah, you need 100 charm. That's what screwed me over. But yeah, his design is cool. I think it would be cool if he was like, instead of the personification of the fireplace, if he was like actually fire itself. It kind of almost feels like Arma fits that a little more in a sense. I don't know. But Dante's cool. I like how the eyes almost look like they're carved into his face, but they're like, there's no pupils or anything. He has this pattern on his skin or something that's, I don't really know what it is. It's like these orange marks, and then the stomach is just burning. And the pants are really cool. I'm assuming they're pants of like the rocks and the other stuff. I think it's really lit. I don't like the hat. Is it supposed to be like a beanie or something, I'm assuming? Because it's made out of wood. I actually don't mind the wood stuff. Like the shoes are made out of wood. Because I get it, he's like fireplace. But the hat just looks kind of weird. But I think I get what they're going for. And then with the realized designs, I finally got to see it. I thought it was okay. I still hate the jacket. I like that the pants and the shoes pretty much stayed the same though. The hair's kind of funny. I like the like shaved look in the back and the earrings though. The tattoo of the flame on the chest is kind of funny. I feel like it looks kind of more goofy than anything, but because I feel like having a tattoo of fire would be pretty cool. It just, I don't know. I feel like it could have been placed better or something. But I guess it does match with like the pattern on his chest. Anyway, his routes. Actually, his route has some great advice. I was trying to remember if I had fun with it. I don't know if I had fun. I didn't feel like I had fun. It was more of like I was learning things, but I was enjoying learning stuff, so that was fine. And I think he's like fun as a character. I remember his theme music's really chill too, because his whole thing is like he teaches you how to do romance stuff. I think that's interesting because I don't remember where I read it from or something, or if it's true where originally characters were supposed to teach you more about romance, but I mean the characters do in their own way. Like Timothy's things is, I mean, it is about time, but it's all using the example of dates and it's like timeliness and whatever. But Dante's thing is specifically giving you actual dating advice on like how to flirt. And it's not even just with romance, it's like even just how to make friends. And I think that's really cool, actually. Of just teaching you things and how to make friends. I mean, some of it is advice that I already use anyway. Like you see someone wearing something you like and you make sure to like engage the person, ask them questions. All of it's really good advice. I feel like I should have probably written some of it down in a sense. So that was cool. That's like the one person I feel like with their advice, it really feels like you're learning how to like date and stuff, despite the other characters like Tony giving you the romance workshop that ends up being kind of useless or whatever. And Dante's like a very mature character as well, of like making sure not to be like, through learning about him through his advice he gives you of like not being a creep and being very like emotionally mature about things and stuff. And he doesn't want you to do the options where you get too flirty with him. It's just kind of funny and it makes me feel bad of he says at one point about, why can I not remember what it is? It's like a couple of conversations into, of like, oh, you can't just pick all the spec options and win. You have to like take the advantage of getting to know people and stuff. I think if you apply that in a real world sense, if you can't just be too overly flirty and expect to like make an emotional connection and stuff. And I was thinking about that during my second playthrough, where I was using a lot of the spec options because I had them all maxed out. To be fair, not a lot of them do a ton of stuff. Usually it's like funny lines or whatever, but some of them do lead to more interesting conversations. Like you can chat more with Barry about the condition he has. I don't remember what it was. I probably have the same one if I'm honest, but we'll talk about Barry in a bit, or in a while. I think he's like number 50, so he doesn't pop up in here for a while. But some of the spec things are nice because you get to skip through some of the repeating dialogue and whatever and just like cut directly to the chase. But yeah, his advice is good. He's like a fun character. I do like how he's kind of sassy as well. I don't really like the puns, the fire puns and stuff. I feel like it's a little too much. But I like how it kind of works through if you were trying to date someone, but it applies to him of like doing the pickup lines. And then the observation and interest I think were my favorite. And you do these role play scenarios, and I like the part of the route where he's finally like, you know what, this is cringe, I like you, and I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm giving all these romance advice, but I've never been in love. And you get my favorite collectible of all time, or probably my favorite. I kind of look at them as I'm talking just a little bit. You get one. It's the meme of the guy on the beach freaking the hell out. I don't know what it's called. I've seen the actual image before, but the fact they drew that with him, and it fits so well with that scene, but it's really funny because he's having an emotional breakdown of like, or not a breakdown, but being sad about not ever finding love, but the picture is so funny I couldn't really take the scene seriously. Oh, okay, and his first collectible, I forgot about it. It's a badge. It's supposed to be like a Pokemon reference. I think that's kind of funny. Oh, and then one of them, sometimes your specs you have to purposely be mean to people. You get one where you can actually just freeze them solid. But yeah, he's a cool character. I liked the advice itself, but I didn't really, a lot of things felt too direct because it's like teaching and stuff. I read something somewhere, that's what I was originally trying to say, of like, it wouldn't be good if you had too many characters that were like this, that were trying this directly to teach the player like how to flirt and stuff. But yeah, my favorite part of his route was the ending of it, where he finally confesses his feelings, and you're not just stuck in like a role play scenario anymore. And then his realization ending is interesting, where he goes to clubs and becomes everyone's wingman. And then at the end, with the romance thing. Oh, I forgot about that. Okay, there's a line. I'll read it directly from the thing. I'm quoting the caption here. Of he becomes responsible for an increase in weddings in your town, as well as over 300 children, all legitimate and well cared for, of course. I was confused by this, if it meant he's getting people together and those people are having children, but at first I read it wrong, and because I thought of the as well as over 300 children, then the next line is all legitimate, and I'm like, fuck, are these his? But then there is a part of the romance part of it, of the dialogue, is when you're ready, he'll help you set up with your love life, and he's going to set himself up with you, which is kind of funny, which means you'll eventually end up together. But yeah, he's cool. I'm just glad that it's only really him that has that direct of a dialogue. But as like a personality and stuff, he's fun. And the design is really cool. I like that it kind of represents all the elements of like Aaron's air, Dante's fire, River's water, and the Geode Lady is like earth, rocks, and then if you want to make it a little more, I guess you could technically count like Eddie and Volt as electricity, but which makes it interesting when I compare them to the other ones of like they don't look electric, but they are. I mean, Volt literally has electric hair, but you get what I mean, which is why I keep thinking back to that concept art and it makes me a little sad. Because I think like with electricity itself, you could probably do like a really cool design, but I'm happy with what we got. I'm happy we got the cool electric guys. Okay, next is Telly. I actually no, now that I think about it. Okay. Let's talk about designs first. Let's talk about design. I was excited for a second to talk about Telly, and then I was like, wait a minute, I do have some complaints, and I felt a little bad. Telly, let's see, number 23. I think his design's really cool. It's one of my favorites. I love the afro being the, whatever you call it on TV with the colored bars. I think that's so cool. I love the idea of like a TV is literally in his design. I really like the outfit. Oh my gosh, I'd never seen the full thing of the shoes before. That's I have thoughts about the shoes. Okay, but the rest of the outfit, yeah, I love the afro. I love the thing with the red and blue eyes, and then the lips being this kind of grayish white is really cool. It really makes them pop. Actually, I don't know why the eyes are specifically red and blue. Maybe that works for stuff with TV. I don't get it, but it's cool. Makes them unique. I feel like if he had just completely red eyes, it'd be maybe a little scary, and just the blue, I don't know. I think it's fun. I love whatever the outfit is. Is it like some kind of jumpsuit or something? It has that little power button thing. I think that looks cool. And I like the little, it's kind of more subtle. There's like a VR, not VR, I was gonna say VHS or like DVD player type thing around as the belt, and it has words and stuff on it, but from far away it just kind of looks like a belt. I adore the actual suit itself. Like the outline of it is like black, looks like it's like leather or something, or not leather, but just something squishy. And I love the pattern of the TV static. I think it looks so cool. And then he has these little armband things that are supposed to be the remotes and like the buttons, and it just makes me think of Vocaloid. You know what, that's probably part of the reason I like this design. It makes me think of Vocaloid. And then I just noticed as I'm looking at the sprite, there's like a bunch of cords and stuff that dangle around in the back, like on the back of a TV. I love like any designs where it's like cords and wires and things hanging out. I think that's so cool. Like again with Vocaloid, there's a Vocaloid Pico who has a tail that's like a USB stick or something. So just stuff like that's really cool. I think Connie has a bunch of random cords as well. And the shoes are like the back opening of TV, like a TV remote. I do like that there's TV remotes in the design as well, because I feel like that's just as important as the TV. I get what they're going for, and the batteries in that sense are kind of cool. They're like socks or whatever. I feel like they look kind of weird. And then the actual shoes themselves, they have like little mini static TVs. I don't really like it. The rest of the shoe I think is actually kind of cool. Low-key, I would wear that because it's these primary colored buttons and then the buttons of a TV remote, and then there's this blue glowy part on the rim. They kind of remind me of the shoes you wear for like water sports, and then the bottom of the shoes you can just see a little bit, and it has that like colored the color bar things. As I kind of want those shoes, except without the little TVs on the top. I feel like that's a bit distracting, but the rest of it's fine. But overall, I think it's a cool outfit. I love the ones where it's like it combines fashion-wise everything the character's supposed to represent. Oh, I didn't know about the they he pronouns. I'm gonna have to keep that in mind. because that's the nice thing with this wiki, is it has like everyone's pronouns too. And I didn't, for some of the characters, it's like actually they're written wrong in the game. Like I think there's an error with Max at one point. But yeah. I love when it combines the whole concept, because like a TV, it's like it's the screen, it's the remote. I love the stuff with like the static and the colored bars. You have like the batteries, you have like everything together, and like the DVD player and stuff. I love Telly. The only fashion icon for starters, the only two things that bother me is the rhyming. I don't really get why that's a thing. I get it's supposed to be kind of unique. At first it was sort of fun, but it got kind of annoying, and also, I get it, he's a TV. It's probably on purpose. I just feel they're too loud constantly, except for when they're like kind of being honest with you about things and stuff. It's just kind of a lot to take in. It overwhelmed. Having those two consistently is like a bit overwhelming. But Telly's a really fun character. I absolutely love that a lot of his quotes out of nowhere are just TV show references, and I'm even reading all of them right now. The Alon-Z one, I'm assuming, I always associate that with the 10th Doctor, so that better be a Doctor Who reference. They're not all written on here. Some of them I didn't get, though. Like, I didn't know the Survivor one. I've never watched Survivor. I've never watched Shaft or The Bachelor. Sometimes he quotes presidents or people. There's a couple of them that were absolutely my favorite, and I love that the voice actor just nails whatever character it's supposed to be as well. Like there's a part where he says "do" like Homer Simpson, and it's perfect. There's some of them that just threw me off in a way of like it was funny and unexpected. Like at one point he says "bazinga," but it's actually it's like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory, and I was like, ah. Or Jesse from Breaking Bad with the "yeah, Mr. White, yeah, science, bitch." It was great. A lot of the quotes just got like a chuckle out of me, and I'm someone that is like big on like quotes and stuff as well, so that made me really happy. I feel like Telly and I, if he was real, we would get along great. Absolutely. We'd just be making TV references to stuff all the time. And then they have another one from Columbo, I can't do a Peter Falk impression. The makes sense. Just one more thing that Columbo always says right before he like chessboard masters everything and reveals what happened in the villain and stuff. But yeah, the references are cool. The design is cool. What is the realized design? I don't remember what it is. Give me a second, please. Okay, the realized design is like way less colorful, but it still looks really cool. Oh yeah, all the color is like gone except for the bracelets and the glasses. I think it's interesting that the eyes stay the exact same color. It's just that they there's 3D glasses and they align with the colors of the eyes. I think that's cool. And then the afro, instead of being TV shaped, is like circular, and it has kind of this white at the bottom to kind of go with the TV stuff. I am so happy that the TV static did not leave in the realized design. It's the jacket. I would wear a TV static jacket. It's cool. I'm a little sad that the jumpsuit thing is gone, and instead it's a top. I don't know if it has like actual sleeves or not. It's under the jacket, and then these like leather pants. I think it's kind of interesting. It has these like weird, I don't know what they are exactly. It kind of reminds me of like a volume dial a little bit. But the bracelet being the same colors as the TV static ring is really cool. I love the shoes. I like the shoes even more than the other shoes because they're boots, but it's the same concept of like the 3 buttons and the pattern underneath the boots. I want those boots. they need to start a fashion line of like the outfits for the characters from these games. There's some accessories or things I would buy in a heartbeat, honestly. But both designs are really cool. But yeah, Telly's route is interesting because this is like the second time. What is that Dr. Doofenshmirtz thing that if I had a nickel, it would end up it would end up being 2 nickels. If I had a nickel for every game I played this summer in the past 3 months where there was a TV themed character, or a character that was a TV that had a crisis over people not watching TV anymore, I'd have 2 nickels. It's Tenna. I'm talking about Tenna from Deltarune, which is already a fun route and everything and a cool character. And I was thinking about that during Telly's route, because Telly's thing is like wanting to watch TV with you. And I love that you actually get to hear what the shows are. I like the description for the show about the cougars, where it's like human cougars versus actual animal cougars, and the way it's described. I like the descriptions, the way they're read too. Like they're not really in like Telly's voice of like the really loud and kind of higher pitched. It's like 10 actual cougars are blah 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 blah. Like his voice kind of gets like more deeper every once in a while. Those descriptions, there's just like a lot of funny things on that route. But yeah, Telly, they end up having all the shows get taken on streaming service, because it's the whole route is about like streaming services and stuff. And then he ends up really depressed, and you're like, hey, you can have both. It's kind of weird the way his problem is solved, where you can tell them like, oh, you can have both. You can have streaming services and cable TV. And he's just like, oh, really? I never thought about that before. And then it's like, bam, problem solved, or like his crisis or whatever. I do kind of don't like that he ends up getting the job as the like in-universe Netflix like rater or review blogger for them. Yeah, I don't really like it. I get it though. You can ask him, it's like, did you hate them? And they're like, yeah, but you know, you gotta like pay the bills somehow and stuff. I guess it is kind of growth from what you taught him of like, oh, you can have streaming services are fine too. And I'm sure since he loves TV, of course they'd be interested in like of like watching all the shows and stuff. But at the same time, I feel like it fits of becoming a review blogger. I want to see what Telly's Letterboxd page, because I know he's watching like TV and that's the whole thing, and shows. What about like movies and things too? The artwork though, for the realization, it goes so hard, honestly. It's hold on, I wrote about it in my notes somewhere. Sitting in a room surrounded by snacks, and there's like a billion screens, and wearing the 3D glasses. And then the love line is that you go and you visit him every once in a while and you talk about the things that they've watched. So I like that. Oh, the Polaroids are in here too. I like those. I like when Telly appears during your date with Monique and then flirts with her the entire time. And then he also makes an appearance. It's in Miranda's route, where she's arguing with Stefan about like following your dreams, and Telly appears for 2 seconds and then they leave. And then I think they're also in Key's route too, saying like it's a line that's kind of confusing, because he ends up making friends with Keys early on in the route, and then says, oh, I better not rhyme during these old school performances. You know what happened last time? And I was what kind of inciting incident is that exactly? But yeah, Telly's really cool. I liked him immediately. Their outfits are just so good. And it's just a fun character. Like, literally the only two things I don't really like are and I think the game has good commentary about like a lot about like streaming services and stuff, is just the rhyming gets annoying and just the volume control, but I get it. TV's gonna be like really loud. Well, I'm glad the TV character is actually like loud and energetic and stuff. I feel like that definitely really fits. But yeah, Telly's really cool. I was happy to do the romance route both time. Oh, and then Connie's next in here. That's perfect. Connie, I like Connie as a character. I hate her route, actually. Let's talk about outfits first. That's gonna make me feel better. I like both Connie's outfits a lot. I'll talk about the regular one first. I like that it's this sort of dress with the I like how it's sci-fi themed. I feel like it's like sci-fi and technology based. I feel like that fits perfectly for a gaming console. Her hair's really cool. I love the white and yellow throughout her design. I like that she has, it reminds me of like angel wings or something, and it's around her head of a broken up game controller. I think that's really cool, of like, bam, video games. And then I like the star themes and stuff. And she has this sort of, or not jacket, I think it's just part of the dress actually, that has like power buttons and then the place where you put the disc. I think if the disc theme or the disc thing could be incorporated better, I don't know. And then she has these like glove things that are very boxy and they glow. A lot of her stuff is like square themed. Oh my gosh, I've never seen the full design for the boots. That is so cool. It kind of reminds me of those like jointed dolls a little bit with the way her boots are. They have like these little screws and they have the parts of like a gaming controller. I love that on the knees it has like a little joystick sticking out. I feel like that's really cool. But I love the bottom of the boots where they glow and they're like these high top boots, or like they're like very blocky and stuff. And then she has these cords that stick out. I don't know if they're coming from her back or like behind somewhere, but they do remind me of the Vocaloid thing that I said, of like they kind of look like a tail and it's like a little USB cord and like a little plug. I need to look at the rest of the sprites, of the way it moves around, of like, is it a tail or is it like, because it moves around, it follows her, it's always sticking up. And then some sprites, she's kind of holding onto it with her hand and it's able to split apart. I'm going to view it as a tail. I think it's so cool. I really like her design and it totally matches with like video games. And I love how glowy. I guess I really like the ones that are soft, or not soft, light. Why did I say soft? So the realization thing, also it took me way too long to get the joke with her name. Like, I remember I read it somewhere in a guide before I actually finished her route and I was like, Connie Soul, is it because you're like bringing, I thought that was weird to give her such a normal name, and I'm like, what's with the soul part? It made me think of Kirby bosses. So I guess that's gaming. And then it has to do with like, you bring her together and it's like her soul, it's like her true self. It's a freaking pun on console of Connie Soul. Why did that take me until the second playthrough to figure out? I don't know. Anyway, the realized design is, it gives like gamer girl vibe or something. I'm a little bummed because I really liked the outfit, like the dress in the normal one. And I was kind of hoping she'd keep it, and instead it's like this bathing suit type thing, with this little like star boob window or whatever. But other than that, the rest of it looks kind of comfy. She has these like little glow in the dark cat headphones, and then I love her jacket. That's my favorite part. It's so like puffy and comfy. She holds a little game controller. The boots, I don't know. They have like these heart straps. They're like really long boots and they still keep the glowy thing. I'm surprisingly whatever on the boots, but I love the jacket with the little cat ear headphones and everything. That's why I kind of looked at it and I assumed, okay, she's gonna be like I didn't even consider her going into game development. I saw the design and I'm like, you're going to become the most popular in-universe streamer of all time. And then Stella ended up being the one that was a streamer, and I was really disappointed. But Connie going into game development, I mean, it makes complete sense. She's video games, you know? But yeah, her route is really repetitive and kind of long. I think it's kind of interesting in the sense of it works for gaming, of like, you turn on your console, you play your game, you turn off your console and whatever, and that she's stuck in a time loop. It's definitely unique of like, she's stuck in a time loop, she doesn't remember you. That part of it, I'm fine, and you end up going closer through that. It's also a good way to like accidentally get a hate ending and trigger Reggie, if needed. And you can kind of skip through her route a little bit faster if you've already done it before and you know about like the lingonberries thing and whatever, and doing some of this stuff. But you're kind of, it's just the fact that you're shoved into the same game in the same situation until you eventually beat the boss. But the ending of it is nice, where she combines all the assets and the characters. She really is all of them, and that she does the voicing for all the different characters and stuff, because it's all a part of her. And then her romance thing is, she's like, you saw all of me, even when I was the bad guy, and you say something for the romance thing of like, every game needs a good villain or whatever. And I think that's pretty cool. But just the fact that you're in the same situation all the time and it's the same dialogue over and over and over again gets like really tiring and repetitive. It made me dread doing her route in the second playthrough. I'm like, okay, let me just get this over with. And it's a bummer because her character is so fun, of being like a first-person shooter protagonist in this like sci-fi game, and she's the main character. And you're playing the game together, and I absolutely adore that. And I kind of and there's definitely like gaming stuff in her route and whatever, but I kind of think it would have been cool if like you played different games every time, if it was kind of like Cherami's route, where every day you have different plays. What if, because like with gaming, just the fact that you're locked into one genre and one game for the video game's character is kind of a little sucky, but I get what they're going for, of like, it's you doing a full playthrough of the whole game and getting to beat the final boss and stuff. I think it would have been cool if it was either like each playthrough was like, instead of starting the game over again, is like you keep making progress until you eventually win, or if it was like a different game, even if it was a short adventure every day. And what if she had like different outfits, like I guess I basically just want Cherami's route for the video game character, because I feel like it makes sense if she had like different outfits depending on like what genre you're playing or something. I think that could be cool, and it could be like a wider way to show more stuff about like different video games and stuff. I was just thinking about that, because other than putting a ridiculous amount of time into playing this game, Did Everything, I have also been playing Majora's Mask on my Switch, and I kept thinking about Connie as I was playing, and I was imagining her there, sitting there dressed as like Link or something as I'm playing the game. So just stuff like that would be cool. But yeah, that's the thing that sucked, that I'm like mixed on her, of like, I hated the route, but I loved the character. She was really cool and has such a cool design and everything. And then I like the little arts jokes and things of like her, that jokes isn't the right word, of her ending the art of it. She ends up making The Legend of Sassy 2, which is cool because Sassy Chap, the character, is the one that gave up on character development stuff or gaming or whatever. There's a picture of a Zelda style logo, which is cool, and there's a picture of Sassy Chap that looks like a me holding up a little pipe or whatever, so I'm assuming Legend of Sassy Chap is a Zelda clone. And in the romance dialogue it says that she hires the the Date Everything protagonist to voice the main character of her game, which I find really funny because Sassy Chap has like a kind of iconic voice. So I'm imagining a Zelda type game where you have to voice someone that sounds like Sassy Chap, but it's like Link if he can talk. And that's I get it's supposed to be a sweet sentiment of like you're getting included too, but we have to voice Sassy Chap, so there you go. I think it would have been cool if instead it was like you get to be the first person to play the game or something. But I guess voicing the main character is really nice. But yeah, Connie's really cool. Keys is next. Keys is 25. How long is this? It's already an hour. Yeah, we're going to go for like 20 at a time for sure. I'm talking too long. Keys actually ended up being one of my favorites. Not even at the end of her route, but during it. I love her character development and storyline. And Keys, let me pull up we have to talk about the Keys design. It's one of my favorites. It's absolutely gorgeous. She's wonderful. There's so many cool little details I love, and it's not just because I play piano in real life, which I have been getting back into ever since I finished her route and I heard the concerto, and I was like, damn, I gotta get my ass back on a piano now. There's so many cool little details. I love her little music earrings, of being the different why am I forgetting what they're called? Like the symbol for the right hand, the symbol for the left hand are like different parts of her earrings, and there's a headband that's like the 3 petals. I think that's cool. I love how her whole outfit, the dress, is like literally the innards of piano, because the coat and even the little shoulder part of it is like the shape of the piano, because she's specifically supposed to be like a grand piano. And then there's the keyboard as a belt. I hated the keyboard as a belt originally, but I've stared at it for so long, I'm like, you know what, it works. I do feel like it could have been incorporated in a more subtle way somehow, especially because it's like black and white keys and stuff. I feel like that would be kind of easy, but it is supposed to be the centerpiece. I actually really like the inside of the dress being like the innards of the piano, and then she has the strings on top of her body, and I didn't even notice that until I'm looking at the art. And then she has these wristbands that remind me of one of those like player pianos, but also of like music notes and stuff. I have not seen the shoes before. Let's check out the shoes. The shoes don't feel like a piano reference. They just look like gold shoes, but they're pretty. I actually like the use of gold for like the pedal and the earrings and stuff and the shoes, and I like how the gold isn't all over the place with the design, but I feel like it fits because of her having this very elegant, fashionable outfit of she's supposed to be the diva, you know? And then her sprite, she has multiple outfits. I forgot about that. I love that she's multiple outfits. She has it's listed as tuxedo, but it just kind of looks like a dress. I love she has an outfit change. So does Rainy for the concerto. And it's this black dress. I like the way the piano is incorporated better. It's like still a belt, but it's like rounded around the dress. She has these like arm things that are white that have the little black strips, and I'm like, okay, that feels like a more natural way to incorporate the piano keys. I love the bottom of the dress. It's so flowy, and it has these like gold sparkles and shit. Oh my god. I kind of was hoping and I kind of expected she'd have like fancy gloves, but I mean, then again, she's gonna be playing the piano, so I guess you probably wouldn't want that in the way. But it's gorgeous. And then her realized design is a white dress instead, and it has this little part on the chest that's like the keys, and they're bigger, but they look more like a design. I don't know. And I like the middle part of the dress having these little hearts, and it's like a little pattern of like notes or something, and the shoes are the same. Actually, her outfit isn't very piano-y. It's literally just a white dress with a slit, but it looks good. All of these 3 outfits are absolutely gorgeous, fashion-wise, not like object-wise, of like how well does it fit or whatever. These are all so glamorous. I love them so much, and she's gorgeous anyway. I love her like gold makeup and stuff. It's just so good. But her route is really interesting, where she's like this diva. She's this awkward dork diva that doesn't know how to make friends, and it's great because you meet her. I feel like she's a little intimidating in a sense, kind of cold, and she needs help. You have to like go talk to people to like adjust the lighting and dust the pedals and stuff. And I like that they all call her out on it, except I think Lux doesn't really care. Hoove calls her out on it of like she's being such a diva or whatever, and eventually she does apologize, and you do get to tell her right away of like, that's really mean. And then her whole thing is she learns that she's a hand-me-down and the player isn't a composer. And I like her line where she says something like, please excuse me for a minute, I'm gonna go scream. You just shattered her entire world, and the rest of the route is her recovering from that, where she decides to vent in the form of a musical piece. So throughout the route there's 8 interactions with her actually, it's really long. Throughout the route, she's writing this piano piece. You don't get to hear it until the end, which I actually love that because it is absolutely beautiful, and it is such a great reward for finishing her route, honestly. So she's writing it, but she talks to you about how she learns how to make friends from the player. It's so goofy. That's why I called her a dork, where she talks about how she doesn't like things or has a problem with stuff, but if you keep talking to her, you realize it's very obvious she actually does like those things. Like, she gets distracted by Telly's TV program, and then it turns out she actually wants to keep watching it, and then she ends up getting hooked on a soap opera or something and becomes friends with Telly, and she's like, I don't know how to do that. And you're like, you can just go say hi like a normal person, you know? She doesn't know how to make friends, and I find that cute and sad. And then she ends up having a complaint about Rainy and ends up making friends with Rainy. I actually kind of ship Rainy and Keys. I feel like they'd be really good together, not just like music theme, but I think it would be an interesting dynamic of like Keys is like, you know, after her character development is like trying to make friends with people, and she's very like elegant and kind of calm, and Rainy is very like loud and kind of all over the place and loves to dance. I just feel like it would work. I don't know. So Keys slowly kind of gains more character development and tells you about how she changed the storyline, because I love that the storyline of her piano piece mimics or like mirrors what your development is with her, specifically her feelings towards the player and how she makes friends. And her whole piano piece storyline is about Keys as a goddess who fell down from the heavens to represent her being like a diva, and she's trapped in the mortal realm because she hates being a hand-me-down, but she eventually accepts it. And we're the magician that she ends up falling in love with. The magician she originally describes as a fraud, and then it's her journey with the magician, and they end up as lovers and stuff. And then you get to hear the concerto, and Rainy's there too, and Rainy has her own little tuxedo outfit that I'm gonna love to talk about whenever Rainy pops up in this. And the music is gorgeous, as I keep saying it, but you need to go listen to it to get what the heck I'm talking about. So yeah, Keys is great. She has one of the most memorable routes in the game to me, and it's a really fun route of like teaching her how to make friends, and she's like really funny. I just love her as a character so much. She's great. So then there's Gaia. Gaia is an absolute sweetheart. Gaia is another character I absolutely love. She is one of those kind of like prissy, I could see myself like dating IRL. She's just so fun. Hold on, let me find her on the thing. We need to talk about outfits first. I feel like that helps me relax and kind of like, I like talking about fashion with character designs. I think it's so fun. I love her little goggles. I wish really bad they were part of her realized outfit. They get changed to aviators. I don't know how I feel about her outfit. I feel like it kind of works. The blue crop top part shirt, whatever it is, or like vest, is interesting with like the patterns of like the lines and stuff. I think it's a good way to break up her outfit because it's so brown and it's like this suit or something that I think it works good as like a centerpiece. And then she has this little thing on her head of like the top of a globe. I think that's kind of cool. My favorite part of her, oh, she just has like normal gold shoes, okay, to represent like the feet of the globe. My favorite part of her outfit is easily the little scarf that she wears that has like colors of the continents and stuff, and I'm so glad she keeps it in the realized outfit. And I love that her sleeves have like little pictures of like flags and where things are, and then she has the little Canadian maple leaf on the bottom. I really like the gold parts that are all kind of rounded around her like a globe. I just think it's cool. And I like the brown leather for like the pants and the other stuff, or I'm assuming it's supposed to be like wood, but it kind of looks like leather. It reminds me of like an adventure outfit and stuff. Where the heck is the realized thing? I need it. Her musical theme is cool too. It's like very adventure-y and stuff. And she oh, her hair changes color a little bit. That's interesting. At least I think it does. It's like kind of a orangey brown, and then it becomes like a brighter shade of orange or brown or something. I think the realized outfit, I'm hit or miss on it. It's okay. It's just, it looks very normal, but it misses the adventure vibes. I love the jacket with the little like compass on it and stuff, the black and white jacket. She keeps the scarf and then the glasses, and then she just has like normal jeans. It feels, she's a very like peppy, fun character, and to be about exploration and then to get such a normal outfit. I hate that she keeps the shoes. I feel like they're like these big gold shoes. They work well with her original outfit because there's like the gold elements there to match and whatever in the globe theme. But just wearing these giant clunky metal looking shoes with like such a casual normal outfit of like the jacket and they're literally just jeans. It just looks kind of weird. I thought she'd get like leather boots or something or whatever. Anyway, Gaia is one of my favorites. I love her so much. She's just such a perky and fun and curious character. I especially like when she appears in other people's routes. Like she appears in, because Beau and Jacques have the longest adventure in the game. It's like a 30-minute adventure where you go inside of a crawl space and Gaia invites herself on there and she allows the player to skip through the story. And I like her dialogue where she's like, you know what, the real reason I invited myself here was because I know these two like to yap. I'm a globe, I can spin, I can like help you go through the story faster. And I like how when she gets in, Beau invites her because Gaia is supposed to be fun and stuff, not even because she's a globe. And Jacques is like immediately angry about it, and the player character has the option to ask about like, why did you invite a globe? Or there's another option that's just like, I'm glad you're here, Gaia. And it's kind of just funny to me. But yeah, she's great. Her whole route, it isn't really like a route to get to know her specifically. It's like a very laid back and fun route where she wants to know more about all the places on her jacket, and you have to go around the house and talking to characters about the ones that are like made in different countries and stuff. And it's like a history thing, but like in a really fun way where everyone just gives you like a little fun fact about where they're from, and it's only certain characters that have that. And I like how some of the characters, it actually spoils some things about where they're from. Or like things about their character. It's kind of interesting, especially with the candelabra, where you're like, yeah, he's from France, and Guy is just like, I'm not sure about that, which is freaking foreshadowing. I didn't realize it the first time because you find out later he's from New Jersey, and if you're not supposed to know he's from New Jersey or anything, and he probably doesn't know anything about France in real life anyway. So yeah, but I love the route for multiple reasons. It gives you extra like fun little dialogue with some of the characters you've already met around your journey. Guy is usually like the first character I talk to, and then I go talk to everyone else. There's probably, I think, like 10 people she can go talk to and stuff, and some of them you only unlock after doing certain storylines, or if you go and you search for them. Like apparently Hirohime can be involved with that, so in my second playthrough I saved Gaia till the very, very end to romance her, just because I wanted the conversation with Hirohime, which ended up actually being really cool. So yeah, you like get a chance to get extra fun little dialogue, and Gaia has her own comments about what people are telling you, and she gets to kind of talk to you a little bit too. You never have like a scene where it's just you two really chatting about things. You actually only get that at the end of her route. You can make a fish face at her and she starts talking about the ocean and stuff, but she has such like fun commentary, and you do get to chime in the route as well, that I feel like you get to know her through it. So it's not one of those where it's like I feel like, oh, I have to go hunt people down or whatever. It's fun where it's like I'm already talking to everyone else anyway, and then I get to come back and chat with her every once in a while, and she always stays in the same place. I love the conversations between the other characters and their fun facts. Let me look at the list of people and see if I can remember what they are off the top of my head. Because let's see, Amir's is about this wedding ceremony that involves a large mirror, and it also involves having candles, and you can make a joke like, oh, Scandelabra should be going to those, and Amir's like, yeah, no, don't worry, we're not inviting him to anybody's weddings or whatever. And then Capricio's whole thing is about like Italy. I don't remember what the fun fact is. And then there's some characters where they're not really from anywhere, but they get included in the dialogue, like the pirate captain, who I'm actually going to be talking about right after I'm done with Gaia's stuff. He says about how he's from the ocean or whatever, and then you do get to hear him confess where he's actually from. I just don't remember where it is. And then Dasha, you mentioned something about vodka and she immediately shows up. I don't remember what fact about Russia she ends up giving you exactly. And then Dorian's is kind of funny where you just kind of make fun of him during it. It reminds me of that, like, I don't know if it was a meme. I always feel like I'm saying like, oh, this thing that's a meme, and I don't even remember if it's a meme. The way the way British people say Tuesday, there's that the two phrases that everyone makes fun of on the internet about like it's Tuesday in it, or the trying to get a British person to say bottle of water. And I feel like it's kind of a reference to that, because when Dorian shows up, he's like, oh, what's all this then? And Guy is immediately just like, oh, hey, that's one of the phrases they say there. And then he keeps like it's all things that he would normally say or whatever, but it's all like very like British phrases of stuff, and Gaia keeps kind of teasing him about it, not like she's bullying him on purpose, but just what does she say after he leaves? She says something like, oh, it's fun to get under his door for him every once in a while for a giggle. And then Dorian eventually gets tired of it, and he's not someone that ever really gets like truly angry about anything. I like the way his like comeback to like you guys teasing him, because the player, if you don't type in a location, is from somewhere named Coolsville, and apparently that's America, and I only know that because of the Dorian dialogue. But I feel like with the way David Most is, and just the concept of having magic glasses where you date furniture, I feel like that would be something that would happen in America. But no, he says stuff about like, oh, what language are you guys? You're speaking English, huh? That's thanks to us. Canada and America get that from England. So that like outright confirms, you know, the player characters from America. And Guy is from Canada. She's from Newfoundland, I don't really know anything about Canada, if I'm honest, but I'm kind of curious about it now. She has a really strong accent and like certain phrases. I always kind of felt like I understood what she was trying to say, even if I didn't know what some of the phrases were. So that made Dorian's thing kind of funny, where like, you know, Gaia is like very Canadian, having certain phrases, and then she bullies Dorian over his phrases. You don't actually learn a fun fact though about England, which is a bit of a bummer, but the interaction's worth it. And then Jean-Louis, you know, he's French. French people also get made fun of in this game, but through a different character. Sorry, I'm remembering that dialogue and I'm laughing. I don't remember what Jean-Louis thing is about French people. It's something to do with language. And then Keys, I think she's from Nigeria, if I remember right. I don't remember what her fun facts is. And then Kopi is, I think it's about Australia. And it's about different kind of coffee, and Gaia makes fun of her about like poop coffee or whatever, that I remember. And then Kristoff being from hell, but Gaia thinks it's hell as in like where you get sent when you die. And then Mateo's is about textiles in Mexico, and he gets so excited to chat about it too. It's sweet. And then, oh, I forgot that Miranda actually had Gaia dialogue. Shoot, I don't remember what it is. I wish I remembered a lot of these. And then Ronaldini talks about Canada as well, and then Keith being from Spain, but I don't think it's actually Spain. I think it's somewhere near Spain. And I freaking Googled it too, because he mentions about, oh, it's easy to remember where I'm from because the flag has literally a picture of a key in it. I don't remember what the flag is now. But yeah. And then the Geode, I guess, has dialogue too. And it's kind of funny because it's possible to bring up Drysdale and Scandalabra, but Gaia admits that they aren't actually travelers. And then Hirohime talks about Japan, and she talks about she explains to you about crane games, which I think is kind of cool because that is a big thing in Japan, but also you know, she's an anime figure. Does that imply that Sam won her from a crane game, or is it just like a fun fact? But I feel like it fits with her being a figure. Oh, that's interesting. Sorry, I'm reading the trivia thing. Gaia uses the phrase "come from away," which refers to people that come from elsewhere. There's a Broadway musical called Come From Away. I've heard about that before. I've heard the title, but I don't know what it's about. Apparently it takes place in Newfoundland. Cool. But yeah, Gaia's whole route is really fun. It's one of my favorites. I don't even care if it's like a storyline. It's just more interactions between characters. It's really cool. But she's just such a fun, cheerful character. I think personality wise, she's definitely my favorite out of everyone. Okay, I could go on about her forever, but that's okay. Captain Jack Perrot, is it? No, I feel like that's probably Sprouts. I know that's a French word, but I know his name's supposed to be a pun on Captain Jack Sparrow, but I don't remember if the last name is part of the pun too. Anyway, which I think it's funny because it's like, you know, Pirates of the Caribbean. Is that even mentioned in the trivia? Yeah, it is. Because his whole thing is he tries to fight you, but he keeps saying he wants to kill you, but he doesn't. It's like in his head. He's someone that like tries to come off as like tough, but he's not really a threat, but it's like in a comedic way. And then it's kind of funny whenever you flirt with him. He's one of like 3 different characters that gets kind of like flustered. He gets more angry about it, like you're flirting with me or whatever, but then also gets like really into it after a while. Like, I remember with the romance route, if you do the sexy times thing, he says something like, oh, sword belt on, trousers off, and that got a giggle out of me. No, I think it's Textbox Chan and Parker are the ones that are like super easily flustered. Wow, not even, I spent all this time writing all these handwritten notes and I'm not even really reading through them. Let me actually read some things from them really quick before I forget. The office and the attic were my favorite locations, like for characters and stuff. I already wrote about Lux. I liked the routes where characters would feel seen as themselves. I already talked about keys and the piano piece. I just finished that. Oh, I got something funny about the Hanks. I'm glad I wrote that down. I already mentioned the thing about Parker and Textbox Chan. Oh shit, Parker's actually next. That's gonna be a lot of words for me to say. Wish we got more Val. I didn't like the cat ball from Hirohime's thing. Wondering why Timothy's still a cat boy. More lore about the former owners being Valdivian people from the 70s. What's up with that? Okay, I think I'm good. So yeah, just the fact that there's like a pirate character is cool. I like his theme. It just makes me think of Pirates of the Caribbean. He's really loud. He gets too shouty. I don't like the ones that are like super duper loud. It makes me a little uneasy. It's just like, it's like too much in my face, you know. I think his design's really cool because he's supposed to be like a pirate, but like a really small pirate. I love his bird being like a little fake bird, and the hat. I'm kind of disappointed he doesn't have like a captain's hat, but it's like a bottle cap or something that's literally taped on with a thimble or whatever. Really like the mustache with the long hair. I think it looks cool. And then the shirt has like all these little buttons on it or something. And the sword just being a pink little sword that you would find on like cakes, and then the pin. Oh, I never noticed that the peg leg is like a screw or something. Interesting, because he actually did lose his leg. But yeah, I love that his outfit, it makes me think of like, what's the movie, Arrietty, like The Borrowers and stuff, and just the idea of having all your captain's equipment be made out of little objects and stuff. I think that's so fun. And he does talk about losing his leg. It's apparently because of Penelope. I wonder if she even knows that. Oh, okay, the name of the chicken on his shoulder, I'm reading the trivia, has a name. It's Drumstick. Interesting. Oh, Pegwell Bay. Okay, that's a place in the United Kingdom. Interesting. All right, that matches the thing about Gaia's stuff. But yeah, I like how he's violent, kind of like Kristoff, but in a way where it's like not really threatening and stuff. But he does soften up a bit, because this whole thing is he wants an adventure. I feel like the main thing with his route isn't even his. It's the same with Bu's, actually. Bu's whole thing is being like Indiana Jones and stuff. Their routes are literally intertwined in that you go on an adventure with them, and that is like kind of the meat of their routes. And then after that, you get to make the love confessions and stuff. So I should be talking about them together. I'll talk about, oh wait, no. The realized design, it's like an actual pirate uniform. I think it's really cool. It's like what you'd expect from a pirate. And then the little bird stays the same. It's just like a pirate uniform. I love the coat. It just looks so, the whole thing just looks so good. Okay. Bu, I feel like I have to talk about Jacques and Bu together anyway, because their questline things, but also their interactions are one of my favorite things in the game. Bu, wait, I didn't talk about the realization thing. Oh yeah, he becomes like a captain on cruises or something, which I feel like kind of fits. I like the dialogue leading up to it where he finds out he is paid to take people on boats, but he can't kill any of them. Yeah, Bu is cool because her outfit's kind of similar, of like an adventure outfit. It's like Indiana Jones, but she has a cord extension as the whip, and her entire outfit is just cardboard. I think that's so cool because she's boxes and stuff. And her and Jacques are like they're opposites, where Bu's like very fun and friendly and excitable, and Jacques is like very angry. Oh, there's like, okay, there's concept art. That's cool. Let me check that out, actually. She would have originally had sunglasses. And the cardboard stuff doesn't really look as adventurous. It kind of looks a little more like chic. It's actually kind of interesting. So the boxes were kind of more, I don't know. I like the adventure outfit a lot. I think that wins. Bu's really cool. It just threw me off because I just had finished playing The Last of Us right before I got home and started my first playthrough of the game. And Ashley Johnson voices both Bu and Ellie. So whenever Bu talked, not all the time, but like when she got too excited, I just kept hearing Ellie, and it felt really weird. But yeah, she's a really fun character. Between her and Jacques, I like Bu a lot more. I feel like personality-wise, she's more like fun and everything. And I like how with the romance thing, if you realize her, she becomes a camp counselor, and then she leaves immediately, but then you have a nice little scene where she actually comes back and she spends the winter at your house and brings you back like rocks and hot chocolate and stuff, and that's really fun. Her realization outfit, I think it's also cool. She has this red she actually keeps the same outfit, but it's not cardboard anymore, and she has a tattoo of a box cutter. I feel like it relates to her evil twin thing. I forgot about that. The red shirt I'm kind of whatever about, but I like the pants and the boots and stuff. And then her Sprite carries a little box with a present on it. I think that's cute. What else? But I feel like being a camp counselor fits. Okay, so their adventure, I went through it the first time around. It was really fun. You go into the crawl space with them, which I'm surprised you didn't, because you're going inside this new location, you didn't get like Dorian dialogue from, but whatever, that's probably from the best. And you end up finding a chest, and the chest is also sentient. It's the part of boxes that are used to conceal and hide things, and I think that's a really cool concept, actually. I don't think it needed to be a separate character, but I think that's cool as a concept. But isn't like it's like her evil twin, so it's just like a palette swapped Bu. That's pretty much it. And then you find the goddess geode inside, which I was really confused about at first, and then as I was paying more attention to the dialogue in my second playthrough, I realized, oh, it's because she you hear rumors about it from the Scandalabra, I think, that the geode was actually stolen from an island nation and then taken to your house and then hidden under or in the crawl space. So I think that's really interesting. I think the crawl space is an interesting location overall, of like, besides the fact that you're hiding, you have stolen property down there, you have a rat trap, there's a freaking time capsule, and then the evil skeleton key. So it's like a place of like mystery. It's just so weird as a room because it's like covered in all this dirt and stuff. And then it has like the ladder in there. I think it's funny that the ladder is also part of Dorian as well for some reason. I guess it has to do with the trapdoor thing. I don't know. And then it only has like 3 people in it. So besides being the adventure location, once you get everyone out, because you eventually get them all out, it's just kind of useless for the rest of the game. You don't even need to go inside to talk to Dorian either. You can just, I think, shoot the beams at like the door on the outside. So, but as a location, it's kind of cool in that sense. But it's a very fun adventure. I love Bu and Jacques' dynamic, but I've always really liked when it's 2 people with opposite personalities and they get into arguments all the time. Not in a way where it's like toxic or like they're actually like full on pissed together. It's like kind of playful fighting. I was actually hoping you'd be able to get them together as like a couple or something, because I like whatever that shipping dynamic is, where they don't like hate each other, but they're kind of like almost rivals in a sense. I think it's really fun. But anyway, yeah, Jacques is cool. Doing his romance route was whatever, I guess. But Bu I liked better, but it's kind of cool to talk about them both at the same time, and their adventure with Gaia and the player is one of my favorite things in the game. Okay, what are we at here? Okay, we are an hour and a half in. This video will not be 4 hours, I promise. We started with 20 and now we're on... Okay, we've almost gone through 10, so we need 10 more and we're good. Parker board games. Parker Bradley board games. Oh boy, do I have some things to say about Parker. Okay, my opinion of him has dramatically changed between hold on, let me drink my water. I'm probably gonna just not be able to speak by tomorrow from this. I recorded for 5.5 hours today, by the way. Not at once, thankfully, but the 4 hours was in one sitting. So my first playthrough, Parker kind of scared me. Dishy also scares me, but these two scare me in like completely different ways, actually. Or I guess Damon also scares me a little bit too. Not scares me, but like the sun thing was like, it's like in a creepypasta way, like spooky kind of thing. Dishy is, I don't fucking know. Dishy I thought would murder me at any time during that route, and I fully expected it. Parker scares me in a way of like, he is not mentally well, not in the way of Sinclair. I think Sinclair and Parker are revealed to both be high. I didn't get that dialogue with Parker, but I think I read it somewhere. I think it gets confirmed in Zoe's route that he's like doing shrooms or some shit. And then Sinclair canonically has weed cupcakes inside him. But Sinclair comes off as like, I feel bad for him, as like actually delusional, of like believing he's a human person. Parker's insanity is I don't know, man. But he kind of scared me because like the voice acting's fucking great though, for Parker, where sometimes he does these like goofy little voices for things and says things like so dramatically. Just the fucking line delivery kills me, because it's like I read the line in my head, like sometimes I wasn't playing with the volume originally, and it's like it's normal and whatever, but like the tone or whatever is the pitch of like certain words is crazy. Like some words are like screamed out and other words are said in this like kind of like you're dead to me forever kind of tone. It's wild. But he's such a goofy character. But yeah, first playthrough, he kind of scared me a little bit, and I hated him because I got the hate ending 4 times in a row, so I had to keep reloading. Thankfully, I read somewhere that you like should save between his playthroughs, so of playing the different little games, so I didn't have to keep restarting the route from like the very beginning. But that was annoying. And then I ended up in love somehow. I was gonna go with friendship. I think I went with friendship. I either went with friendship or I got love and I just never talked to him again. Yeah. Second playthrough, I understand the Parker hype now. I completely get it. I did follow a guide to get his love ending, and it worked. I got it first try, which is awesome, which is what I wanted for my love playthrough. so I didn't get to experiment with all of the things you could do during the game. Like, I never did the direct cheating ones where it's like you eat the pieces or whatever. Or wait, no, I'm thinking of a meme actually. There's an image I saw of the How Am I Losing at Board Games where the player character is eating the pieces, which is kind of funny. What else? I'm still thinking about that, sorry. The Carl card, I did use it, I think. Not in my Love playthrough, but in my first one I used the Carl card because I thought it was funny. Or I might have seen it on YouTube somewhere, and it's just a card of a guy named Carl, and he absolutely just loses the will to live if you use the Carl card. He gets... Because the thing is, the cheating is weird, where if you, like, move the pieces in the game or whatever, it counts as cheating, but the things you're supposed to do to, like, guarantee a win and not play normally, where it's the flirty options, somehow don't count as cheating. He just gets kind of more angry about it and confused. It's more angry of like, damn, you keep getting me flustered. I refuse to get flustered. And then he's so easy to fluster. It's so funny, actually. He's like surprisingly easy to fluster and actually kind of like sweetly romantic a bit once you get the love dialogue. It's really interesting. But yeah, he has so many funny lines, and the voice delivery absolutely sells it and everything. I really like his when I think of this character, I solely think about personality. I forgot about the design. I still remember when I saw his silhouette in the decks before I unlocked him, and I saw the hat and the boxes as part of the silhouette. I was so excited. I thought we were getting a clown. I was so ready for a clown. I mean, he is a clown, but he's board games. I think the concept of board games is so cool. I don't really like playing board games though, but that's because my brother forced me to play Risk way too many times as a child, and I hated it. Parker's design's really cool. I have opinions on it. It's one of those that's like, it's super busy, but it works to me. I love the stupid little pawn hat, and I was kind of hoping he'd keep it in Realization and it became like a beanie or something. I didn't realize for the longest freaking time that he has hair. I genuinely thought I thought he was bald. I thought he was bald, and that the little money, the Monopoly money that's supposed to be his hair, because it doesn't look like hair to me. It's kind of like with Dunk, where it looks like an object to me. It's obvious to me now that it's hair, but I thought it was just stuff I thought he was hiding money underneath the pawn. I thought the pawn was like an actual hat, but still a pawn. I thought it kind of looks like a birthday hat. I thought he was hiding Monopoly money under his hat, and that he was just bald, and that he was using it to like cheat in the games or something. I can't see it as hair, no matter how many times I look at it. I like the tattoos. I like the cones. I'm pretty sure that's a Parks and Rec reference, and I like that he literally carries a bunch of board games and dice and other things on his back. That's cool. The outfit's crazy. It's Connect 4. There's the one where you have to guess people and you put the people down. The skirt thing is like checkers. I don't know what the pants are, but I think it's kind of like a Monopoly type thing. I think it's Sandyland. I'm gonna just guess it's Sandyland. Oh my gosh, the shoes. The shoes, I thought they were boots. I think I saw them in the art, but I didn't see the whole thing. Oh my gosh. They're little plastic rain boots. They have the little Monopoly houses, and they're red and blue. That is so goofy. Oh my gosh. It's such a goofy outfit, but I actually kind of love it. I think what's interesting is a lot of the characters I feel like there's certain characters that have very unique faces, or I don't know. I think it's just because a lot of the characters are drawn where they're supposed to be really hot, and some of them just aren't. Not that they're supposed to be ugly or anything, but like Vaughn and Parker, as an example, have hold on a minute. Yeah, so Vaughn and Parker have very unique faces, like a different art style and the way they're drawn compared to everyone else. I feel like it fits. But yeah, he's just a goofy looking guy, and then you meet him and he's like very intense and everything. But I don't find him scary anymore. He's just very high. In terms of characters that are high energy, it's him completely, at top of that list. But in terms of characters that are like kind of unsettling or unpredictable or whatever, I mean, he is unpredictable. That's his whole thing. But oh, that's cool. His design, they actually, okay, guess who is the one I was trying to remember. What is the trivia actually? Oh, okay. Implied he does mushrooms, claimed he does LSD. That makes sense. For sure. Oh, and apparently if you use a candy on him, he'll be impressed and become our friend without using up the candy. I appreciate that. Okay, but yeah, his route, it's very memorable to me in that it's 3 distinct board games that you're playing. I like the Sandyland one. I just think the concept of it sounds a little silly. Chess is just kind of whatever. And then Cream Capitalist makes me again think too much of Risk, so I automatically didn't like it, and I wouldn't have been able to win if I wasn't using a guide. But the interactions you can do are kind of funny that get him, of like trying to get him flustered or whatever, because that's the thing, he has the relationship on a dice, but I believe from the dialogue and his reactions that he probably fell in love with the player anyway, and the dice is probably more to like confirm it, and he has to stick that hard to his rule set, because like the first thing with Sandyland, which is just funny to me, where it's like, okay, let's make this interesting, let's strip off all our clothes, and it's not even in like a, like you strip off your clothes in the first game, the second game you're blindfolded. It's never in like a sexy way or anything. It's just, if anything, it just adds challenge to the game and whatever. The narrator's reaction to it is funny, of like, oh, when you first met Parker, your first instinct wasn't to strip down your clothes, but here you are. Because you described it as like, let's get more in the theme of going to the beach or whatever. I don't know how the character just, I mean, the protagonist, that's like the thing that comes to their head as an option of like, yeah, let's take off our clothes or let's blindfold ourselves to play chess, unless it is some kind of grand strategy to mess him up without cheating in order to win better. I don't know, that's like one of the moments in the game I'm like, I want to know what's going on in the MC's head right now. But then he has an outfit change where he's just in like boxers and they're themed around Twister, which is funny. It's just like this dorky little nerd, and he gets so flustered with it, and it's kind of funny because it's like the only time you're ever able to throw him off, and he's like kind of embarrassed about it. It doesn't really feel mean. It's like in a funny way, I guess, where he can't really look at the MC in the eyes or anything, and then gets so flustered that he doesn't end up spinning after a while, and I think you win. And then of course he gets mad at you about it, and then let's see, you can get a love point if you win. And then he changes back to his normal game. And he has different lines if you're doing that too. And then the second game is chess. You can play chess blindfolded. And then he gets nervous, and there's a part where you can bump hands. and whatever. He's like, it's surprising, he's like kind of apologetic during those times too, of like, oh sorry I bumped in your hand or whatever. But yeah, I feel like the player's fully manipulating him at that point. And then the third game you get to play Cream Capitalist. And then you don't have a romantic option to pick, you just have to win. But I am reading, if you did make weird choices in the previous games, you get to use the Carl card, and he gets annoyed and gives up. I think I used it at one point, but not in my love playthrough or anything. I didn't want to mess anything up. And his dialogue's so funny where he's like, you know what, that's the last straw, I'm not dealing with your bullshit anymore, something along those lines. And then you do the dice roll, and that's where I believe that's why people ship Chance and Parker so much, besides the fact they're both different types of games. And I like that Chance calls him out on it, of like, where he seems on your side at first, of like, you know, having your entire relationship revolve on a dice is really weird. But then Chance's whole thing is like, you have to do it through the story beats and the other stuff, and, you know, playing G&G with him. But I do also find that funny that it's Chance saying that, because when he goes on a date with Penelope and her route, he's constantly rolling the D20 to decide what to eat at dinner and whether to see her again for another date. So Penelope gets it. She goes through that too. And then the dice, it is entirely random, by the way. I mean, the points probably have to do with it as well. But yeah, oh, there's 4 collectibles. The dice count as collectibles. And then I didn't know you get images of people if they do stuff. The blindfold saying player 2 is kind of funny, but the fact that I'm assuming he was the one that owned the blindfold, why does he have that? The Carl card is one of my favorite collectibles. I love how it's labeled as Carl, Destroyer of Worlds. The ability is just Carl. It's just some guy named Carl. I want to know the lore. I want to know who Carl is. It's just silly. But yeah, my favorite thing about Parker is the dialogue, his lines. There's so many fucking funny ones. It's great. Like the introduction one, he greets you is like, well, gee golly and Heidi ho. And there's a bunch of them that I didn't even get in my playthrough. Like there's the one about the Carl card, and oh, that reminded me real quick. I forgot with Telly, there's a character that can be introduced who's a guy named Gerald, I think, who plays the xylophone, who you can't date because he's divorced from his wife. And I should have done that on one of my playthroughs. That's the thing. There's like so many things like that where I'm like, damn, I should go back to the game or whatever. I mean, that's probably why I'll start watching like playthroughs. I want to watch Blake Jennings' playthrough of this game just to see if it's like different dialogue options than me. Anyway, yeah. Parker, what else? The lines, if you cheat and you get a love ending, I need to hear that for myself, whether it's YouTube or my own playthrough, because I know what the lines are. I need to know what the voice delivery is, where he calls you a filthy fucking cheater, but I still love you. And that's just really funny to me. I don't think I recorded my playthrough. I need to find a video of his route, because it's so fucking good. Or it's so funny. Like, Vaughn is also a character that makes me crack up, mostly on just voice delivery, but Parker is easily like the funniest character in the game to me. Like, I'm assuming he's one that people like because of the VA, but like as a character, it's just it's so fun. And then if you get the love ending, I forgot what the overworld lines. I haven't been saying what a lot of them are, or the actions or stuff. He opens up a game as like the board games and does like tic-tac-toe. I forgot what the romantic line is. It's something cheesy but like really sweet, because it said like he means it, of like the second half of it I know is something like, oh no, it's care to play a game, my love, or no, care to play a game, my sweet, but I've already won because I've won your heart, or something like that. I did not expect it to be so nice. I thought it was going to be like a joke line. Hold on, I'm remembering lines as they're coming to me. When you realize him, he says, I can be a real boy, like Pinocchio, and you have the option to say, you mean a real man, you know, because he's a grown man, and he says, haha, just kidding, I love men, but the way it's delivered out of context is funny. What else? There was one I just remembered and I'm already forgetting about it, damn it. It's I think it has to do with the cheating thing. Fuck, let me pause the video until I remember what it is. Okay, it's the line you get if you cheat and he knows that you're cheating. He says, I'm bored games, motherfucker, as the explanation to how he knows. And that's another one that I didn't get in my own playthrough, and I need to know how that's said. I'm assuming, because the word motherfucker's in there, it's said in like an energetic, maybe kind of angry-ish tone, but because it's Parker, I don't know. See, I need to specifically watch like a playthrough of this rock, because I gotta hear some of these lines. But yeah, writing wise, this game is great, and it's actually really funny. I literally, to remember about the board games line, I went on a Reddit page I've been to before about people's favorite lines. Let me see, what are some of the ones I forgot about? Someone had one of how Jeremy asks you to sit on her face and how excited she is about it. Or I forgot with when I was talking about Eddie and Volt, about when he calls the player Livewire for the first time and says that it feels natural. I thought that was really sweet. And then Hector has a line about incredible, the dreaming of a silly ventilation system made manifest. I love you too, from the love confession thing. I think that one's sweet. Or apparently from Dorian's hate ending, there's one that's just you were causing a riffraff around half the house. Yeah, I'll probably have to go by and check this again later. Okay, so that's it for Parker. That probably made this video like 2 hours or something. Next is, every once in a while the internet dips and the page disappears. We are on number... Where are you, Parker? 28. Okay, we have like 10 more to go. Alright, it's another of my favorites. It's Mateo. I really like Mateo. He's just very comforting and sweet. He reminds me of Barry, of just being like just a really good person. And I feel like Mateo's someone that's probably hard to screw up a hate ending with. I don't know how to get a hate ending with him. Because even by the end, I think you don't even get the option to reject him or anything. His actual route itself is kind of whatever. I wish... Because the whole thing is spent with him worrying about Davy, one of the missing animals, the Tasselhound. I feel like you get to know a bit about Mateo. He spends the entire route mostly really stressed out. So I feel like you don't really get to know him that much when he's calm. I feel like that's kind of a complaint I can make towards Eddie as well, but that's like the point of the storyline. You go around the house and you have to check out where Davy might be, and it isn't that bad, and it's kind of obvious. You get like hints from people around the house, and I like that you actually get collectibles in the form of like the animals you pick up. I like the snake that's made out of thorns and stuff. And I like that when you go back to talk to Mateo, you see him talking to other characters about where Davy might be. Oh, wait, shit. I forgot for Parker. I forgot I've been talking about realization things. I'll make this quick. I don't like his outfit. I don't like that his money becomes like purple and blue hair. He becomes an umpire because of rules, but I thought it fits that like the kids are afraid of him, but they won't fire him. And then in the love thing, it mentions you still get to play the erotic dice, but at any chance he'll probably just leave you, which also fits in character, but also sounds really sad. Like it's played off as a joke, but it's also really sad of like your lovers, and then if you get the hate dice, he probably would break up with you or something, and it's just like, damn. Okay, back to Mateo. I didn't talk about the outfit yet either, but I'll finish with the other stuff. I like that his name also just literally translates to blanket. But just the fact that he runs an animal shelter rescue thing, I think is really cool. I love the designs for all of the animals and such. And his design just makes me feel comfy. I like his hair being like the stuffing inside of blankets. It's like white and it looks really fluffy and soft and kind of like messy too. And it kind of reminds me of like his outfit of kind of like a mattress almost. It makes me think of more of a bed than Betty does actually. Of the shirt and the pants being like really poofy. Oh my gosh, he wears bedroom slippers, little blue slippers. That's so cute. And I like that he has this blanket around his waist that reminds me of like blankets from like my grandparents' house. But I like that his big jacket thing is he literally wears a blanket as a jacket, and it's like the little blue one with like the dots on it and stuff. It just looks very cozy. I feel like besides literally being a blanket and him being a very gentle and sweet person, just design wise off the clothing, this is one of the characters I would hug in a heartbeat, which feels kind of funny because Betty's the one that really likes hugs. And I'm sure she's good to give hugs too, but like she has that wooden part that pokes out, like the wooden bed frame on her chest as part of her design. I feel like that would hurt to hug, but like Mateo 100% looks really comfy and soft to hug. I would kill for a hug from this character, but he's one of my favorites. The animal stuff I just feel kind of whatever about. I like the concept of them, and that you get to join his family at the end, and his confession's really sweet, where it's like he's like, you brought my family back together, and when you came back and brought Davy home, it felt like you were part of the family too. And he describes the animals being gone and you potentially leaving as like losing a piece of himself, and his confession line is really cute, where it's like, oh, please, you should stay with us, and then it turns into with me, like he really doesn't want you to go. And then your two lines to respond are either that I've always wanted a big family, or it's something to do with the animals, which is really sweet. And he mentions at one point that he practiced his romance confession because he's really awkward with it to the animals before talking to the player, and you have the option to say that that's the cutest thing I've ever heard, that's adorable. And I feel that because I talk to my dog when I get stressed out or I'm unsure about things. There is things that she knows that no one else knows. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And you give him encouragement about things and you help him stay calm. But I like that you go around the house and you literally have to look for the animals and stuff. And I like that once Mateo, like, you finally find Davy and Stitch, finally kind of calms down. He's, like, very relaxed and stuff. I like how the overworld line, when you click on the blanket, it shuffles a little bit and asks if you want to snuggle. And then when you come back to talk... Oh, yeah, because you have to come back to talk to him again, and then he does the love confession, like, properly. And then if you come back to talk to him again, you get to, like, hang out. And then whenever there's someone who has an animal in the house, they get dialogue with Mateo of him, like, helping them out and stuff. And I like the one when you get Hirohime, she gets one too, where it's Nekubaro being taken care of by Mateo and terrified by one of the dogs, and he kind of acts like a cat, and it's really funny knowing that he's actually sentient and also the god of tennis, but he's just stuck as like a cat, which I find really funny. But yeah, he's a sweetheart. I love him. I didn't get to realize him in my first playthrough because of the 100 charm thing, and it absolutely destroyed me because I needed to see what his ending was, and I finally got to do it on my second playthrough, and it's actually a cute outfit. I like that the blanket that's originally around his waist, the one that you always see around the house, it's just the yellow blanket. That's Mateo. I like how it's, he wears it over himself and it has these little tassels. It looks really comfy. He, I think, keeps the same pants, but they're not as, like, puffy. They actually look really cool. What are oh, he keeps the slippers. I like that he gets these little earrings, and his hair is, like, it's just as fluffy, but it's, like, more kind of stylized. I think the earrings are cool. I can't tell what they're supposed to be, but I'd wear them. But I love that he gets this little really cozy looking knit sweater with all these pictures of dogs on them. I love that so much. But yeah, I like the neutral. I haven't talked about characters' faces and expressions because there's some funny expressions in this game. Like Hirohime's face is one of my favorite because she's drawn in like an anime art style. Mateo always has his like neutral expression is a smile, but it's like one of those little cat smiles a little bit. He just looks so relaxed. I think it's the eyes being kind of slightly tilted downward. Like, it just looks like such a warm, just overall has this very warm, comforting presence. Even his musical theme, which I forgot to talk about earlier, it's like very slow and soft, and it makes me think of like sunsets or like winding down at the end of the day. But yeah, it's just vibe-wise and everything about this character. I wish he was real. I want to give him the biggest hug in the world. His storyline's whatever, but I love the whole stuff with the animals, and then his realization thing is he rescues abused animals, but like in a secret kind of way, and the image is really cool where it's Mateo standing in the background, all of these animals jumping towards the camera, and I like how as your romance dialogue for that, it's that he has to leave at one point and calls you to look after all the animals, which is kind of cool. But I like that he still gets to interact with them and stuff in his route, like he never abandons them, and he goes to like personally rescue them himself. And that Davy still goes missing from time to time, but always comes back with new animals and stuff. I just think it's so cool. He's so cool. Alright, Tina the Triangle. I think it's interesting. She's another one that's like an instrument, but she doesn't really have anything to actually do with music at all. And her whole thing, I mean, being a triangle does have to do with it. I think Tina's design, I'm not going to have a ton of things to say on her, by the way, for reasons I'll get to in a bit. I think it's one of the most creative designs in the game because literally everything about her is triangle shaped. Her body, the angles of her arms, her hair. Oh, her hair is like the thing that you use to hit triangles. I actually love her triangle instrument earrings. Even her head and everything is completely angular. It's crazy. I actually really like her outfit. I don't know how to describe it in the slightest. but she has this like triangle, or like what fashion style it is, this like triangle dress and these weird sleeve things, and then she wears heels and everything. I feel like heels definitely work, but I love the earrings. I actually love her makeup. Even her makeup is freaking it's triangle pupils, and then she has this like gray and kind of whitish lipstick. I think it's the same as Telly's actually. And her whole thing with triangles is, besides love triangles, is believing that triangles are like the best shape in the world. And then her realized outfit is also somehow triangular. I don't like it that much, actually. I love the earrings. I like the bracelet. Her dress, I just don't like it at all. I do like that yellow gets added into her design more. And then her hair becomes a bob, but it's like a triangle shaped bob. I actually think it's kind of weird. What else? I feel a little bad I don't have a ton to say on Tina. It's only because hold on a minute. Okay, sorry, I got a Discord message and it was a picture of my friend sending a photo of his cat into the group chat. It was very cute. I didn't do Tina's route. Okay, my second playthrough, I used the skip because I didn't want to mess it up. Tina's one of the ones I got a hate ending with, and it was because I didn't do it right. I didn't know you were supposed to, like, be mean to her and stuff on purpose because she likes drama. It just did not click with me. So I got a hate ending where she rejected me pretty damn hard. So I used the skip, so I don't really know what her character development or really anything about her is. I will say she is my favorite musical theme in the game of all time. I love the saxophone, so that makes her memorable. I just think it's interesting because triangles are like a very kind of gentle like ding, and they're used in classical music, and her personality and everything about her is the exact opposite. I do wonder, and it isn't written in the description, why do you just have a musical triangle in your bedroom closet? Like, why? I get it's to have another character, but that feels like such a random thing, especially because, like, you have a piano and you don't even use it. And Tina, I don't think, ever talks about music with you. I do like her personality of, like, she's very sassy and kind of angry, and she talks about reality TV shows and stuff, which is kind of funny. She has a triangle-shaped journal. It is funny to me she finds it hot if the player's mean to her, though. But I don't like that she talks down to us, so I'm glad there's a character or content awareness thing or whatever. And then when she's realized, she ends up being on reality TV. And if you don't get the love ending, she never contacts the player again, apparently. But then later on, she comes to your house just to hide away from the public and like watches TV with you. I think that's kind of funny. You're supposed to get her with Tony, which actually makes complete sense because she's a triangle and she wants to be in a love triangle with people. I skipped her route, and that's where I got screwed on that achievement of pairing people up, because you're supposed to do her route and get her together with Tony in the route. If you skip, she actually gets a little disappointed and sad, and that's when I realized it, and I was like, oh shit, but it was already too late. I didn't have a save to go back on. So I'm not getting that achievement. I'm not going to go back for that. But I'm kind of secretly glad, because I read if you get her together with Tony, it actually ends up really bad for him here. I don't know what it is, but let me read it. She doesn't pay money in taxes. Tony's forced to do TV shows to pay off her tax bill. And then Tina grows jealous of Tony becoming successful because he has his own TV show. And they keep breaking up and getting back together, and then they constantly complain to you about each other and say that you're the only good thing in their lives. That's so depressing, and I feel so bad for Tony that I don't mind skipping that achievement, because I actually like Tony. I didn't originally, and then in my second playthrough he grew on me a lot. But yeah, I feel bad for him with that. So it's probably for the best I didn't get them together. And that also just feels really sad, but I feel like it also makes sense. I feel like being in a romantic relationship with Tina probably is not healthy. So that's Tina. Don't really have more I can say on her because I didn't do her route. I think her character design is really cool, and there's stuff about her I like. I just can't give like a full opinion on this character. Tony. Oh, wait. Is Tony next on the list? I don't actually know. You know what? I'm going to talk about Tony anyway. It's fine. Because they go together. Why not? It saves me time later. Which means I'm going to get the numbers wrong, but I'll put it as like a range, like I did with the 2 to 20, just so you know, like the kind of, I'm sort of mostly following in order. Tony, I didn't like at first, and then in the second playthrough, thank goodness for that second playthrough, right? It changed the character so much for me. I liked him. I thought he was funny. And I like the gag where he says, forget about it, and you keep it up and you guys keep going with that. He's one of those that's kind of a himbo. I like in Rainy's route. I feel like him and Rainy have like something going on. I feel like they actually might have been good together because they seem to get along and everything. And she tells him he needs to get her the Philip screwdriver, and he's just like, oh, who's Philip? And she has to dumb it down for him as like, oh, the pointy star-shaped one or whatever. And I think it's interesting that Tony is like the no, I'll talk about his personality first. He's like very cheerful and kind of funny and like
very flirty. I still freaking can't believe he's voiced by Sonic the Hedgehog. I find that hilarious. Okay, his routes entertaining, I guess. I don't know, of like, he has these love seminars, but he gives terrible advice, and you can help him correct his advice. It's kind of a little sad with the romance thing where he's like, oh, you'll love me and I don't even have to do anything or whatever. It doesn't really feel like he's grown, but he kind of feels a bit of a joke character, so I don't mind. I like how he appears in other routes, like I mentioned with Rainy's. I never introduced him to Tina, so I don't know what that is like. I'm trying to remember another specific conversation with him. He shows up in like Abel's route and throughout the house. Wait, I need to just pull him up on this wiki, actually. This is not helping me. They're literally next to each other in the wiki. I think his outfit's cool of being like construction worker, but having all the like toolbox stuff. I think it's an awesome outfit. The realization one actually just looks the same, but without the shirt underneath. Like the vest becomes a shirt. It looks normal. I don't know. He shows up to help Abel with a leak, and I like how the game seems to think that Tony isn't like good at construction or like actually knows what he's doing with the tools. I find that really funny because his whole thing is being a construction worker and having all these tools, and his job is literally go around the house and fix people. He's basically like the furniture equivalent of a doctor pretty much, which I wonder about that because like he fixes the objects as objects so far, and Faria is the one that knows like human anatomy. I don't know. But anyway, he's like the handyman of the house, but doesn't really know what he's doing. Eddie is like an actual handyman though. I'm assuming just for electric equipment though. I'm not sure if Eddie could realistically fix anything, especially because like Tony gets his realization ending and he ends up on a TV show giving seminars to people, and then Eddie is constantly fixing shit and fixing houses. So I just find that really interesting that the construction worker isn't the actual one that knows how to fix anything, and it's actually just your burnt out breaker box that can fix shit. But that's probably because he's literally trying to save his own life. Apparently he gets mentioned in one of the in the route where you help Eddie, where if you keep dropping tools, Eddie apparently says that Tony's gonna kill him. I find it funny. But yeah, Tony has funny dialogue about how everyone in his family is named Tony, and except for his sister. What are the collectibles? Oh, all of the collectibles are like spreadsheet things, or not spreadsheets, blueprints. I love Tony's first conversation. I think it's my favorite because I don't really like the romance dialogue of his workshop, where he wants to install things in his house. I loved the idea of putting the moat with the drawbridge around your house. And then there's the one where you replace Stella with a slide and you have to use grippy socks to go up the stairs. I think a better solution is if right next to Stella, I don't care how much room it takes in the hallway, if you put the slide next to her, so you go up the stairs with Stella and then go down the stairs on a slide. I think that would be really funny if you had that, and if you had the moat with the drawbridge, and if those were characters too. Trying to imagine what a slide would be like, or like the drawbridge. I guess technically that's a way to enter and exit. Would it be a bridge? Would it just be Dorian? What would the moat be like? Is it like another form of river? I don't know. But yeah, Tony I find funny. He's grown on me because I can't really take him serious. He's like a lovable himbo. I can't take him seriously. Okay, hold on a second because I thought I might have gotten called.